Hello everybody, this is quixQuery here, and today we are back on the Hermit Pack. And we are right in front of the greenhouse, and we have kind of started to put some of our Botania flowers here. And we can see some of those in a bunch of different places. And we can also see, as we look over here, that I've changed out some of the textures that we're using for our house right here and started on the roof. And we also have some villagers right here in places that baby zombies and other stuff like that can't get to them. These are arborists, and the reason I got arborists is so that I could trade for saplings and so on and so forth, because I had specific types of wood in mind for all of this. And now we already had, these are silver, what's it called, I think? Let's get out our axe. These are lime wood. There we go. Silver lime logs right there. We do not have the type of wood that I want to use for the main portion of the wall right there, and so we're still just using dark oak for the moment. And this roof, if we check it out, it is ebony. Ah, yes. And so we have the saplings in here, myrtle ebony saplings, and these have to be grown in a 3x3 in order to grow them. And fortunately, the villager over there that I bought these from actually sells them in groups of 3, and so you actually have to have a group of 3 right there in order to do all that. And actually, wait a second, do I have it in my inventory? No, I don't. Okay. If we grab our fertilizer right here and bring it over here, we can see that with a lot of stuff that we have grown one of these myrtle ebony trees, and I don't think it's actually meant to look all that great, but that is just fine, because if we pull out this thing right here, our lumber axe, and chop this thing down, we got plenty of trees, and we get plenty of saplings in return as well, most of the time. The last tree I grew gave us plenty of saplings. I'm not sure why this one didn't give us that many, but anyway, that's how you grow those, and in order to figure that out, I actually had to use my portable analyzer from forestry to figure out how big of a space that I had to use in order to grow those. Yeah, those are the few little things that we've been doing since the last episode. But in this episode, I want to get going on the Mekanism mod and start going into the ore processing and stuff like that. And so what we are going to do is head down into our basement. Oh yeah, this is still a screen from the RF Tools mod, but we have now made it invisible, and the background of it are these fuzzy screen chisel laboratory blocks. And so, yeah, that's how I got it to look like that. Pretty simple. Other than that, just you can see these are the things that I have them all set to. But if we head down into our basement right here and come this way, and I was watching some videos, one of Iscal's videos actually, and I'll put a link to it in the description below, and I figured out that there might actually be a way to make it so that this will actually close, and I thought that was pretty darn cool, because I will be really excited to work with all of that and have some sort of a control room and something, but that's a little ways off, and so we are going to be working on the Mekanism mod, and so the tier 1 of ore processing that they have is the Enrichment Chamber right here. And so we put the ores into there, we get dusts from the ores, and we get double our ores. And so we are ready to start on the second tier of ore processing that this mod allows. The second tier of Mekanism ore processing triples ingot yield, and so what we are going to do we are going to use something called a Purification Chamber, and we do not have one of those yet. We have an Enrichment Chamber, we have a Metallurgic Infuser, which is used to craft parts for the Mekanism mod, and so we will probably need it in order to make the Purification Chamber. But essentially, we just want to get started right here with all that. Purification, right there. And we can see that, ooh, no. We do not want all those letters. We want to see what this is capable of. An advanced processing machine capable of serving as the initial stage of 300% ore processing. Exactly what we want. And so we need to find the recipe for it over here, crusher. Purification chamber right here. So we need advanced control circuits, enriched alloy, osmium, and a regular enrichment chamber. So we need an enrichment chamber as well, which means we need steel casing, which is this stuff right here. Awesome. And so now, if we move all the stuff there, okay, now we have an enrichment chamber. And if we come all the way over here, we need these things. Okay. So, this is something I've figured out about the making all the stuff in this Mekanism mod while reading up on it in the wiki. These enriched alloys, you can see that some of the things that we can put in there are just some type of redstone. But there's this, if you see, this compressed redstone from the Mekanism mod, and that gives you quite a bit more. And so if we grab out some iron right here for this thing, and if we grab a couple pieces of redstone, what we can do actually is in our enrichment chamber we can put our couple pieces of redstone right there, and what it will do is we'll turn them into compressed redstone. And now this may not seem like very much to begin with, but really this is like night and day difference as far as how many materials are required in order to make this enriched iron. And so now we put this in the metallurgic infuser, we can see that this gives us 80 redstone. Now normally if we put a redstone in there, it only gives us 10. And 10 is what's required for 1 ingot of iron. And so we are going to put 8 in there. And that will, so essentially 1 redstone is enough for 8 iron ingots to be made into these enriched alloys, which is super awesome and a major game changer if you didn't know that about the mod before. But now we have enough materials for our purification chamber, and it doesn't look like it wants to cooperate with putting the enrichment chamber in the middle. And so we are probably going to just have to look up enrichment chamber ourselves and put that in the middle. Because as great as this RS system is, and it still saves an absolutely massive amount of time, sometimes it just doesn't want to work with something. And that's just fine. But what you have to do is sometimes, even though you know the ingredient is in there, you have to go and manually do it yourself. So we now have a purification chamber, and we need a space for all of this ore processing to occur. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. One other thing that we've done between episodes is that we made some more of these 4K storage disks because we started running out of space again in our refined storage system. Oh, it looks like we're out of power. I need to sleep. Ore processing all the way dug out. And so we're just going to... this is not really a temporary hallway, but the look of it is temporary. It's going to be a hallway in the end, so we can kind of like see the ores like progress along the path of how they get from one stage to the next. And so we're just gonna plop down our machine right there. This is our purification chamber, and let us just grab a piece of ore. And it looks like we have the most tin ore, and so let's just grab a piece of that and our power right here, and let's see what this thing gives us. And so this should, okay, it actually requires things in order to be able to power it, and so we need to make a couple of other machines. We should get 3 tin clumps which we then put into the crusher right here and get 3 dirty dusts, which then get put into the enrichment chamber and turned into 3 dusts of the individual things, which we can then smelt for each one ingot each. And so what we need to do in order to make this purification chamber work is we need to supply it with oxygen. And oxygen is gotten from water being a source of water in an electrolytic separator. And so we are going to make a couple of different things, and so we're going to make a pump and a separator. So the electric pump was pretty straightforward, but as for the electrolytic compressor, I believe separator. There we go. The electrolytic separator. It needs some other stuff, and we need some dust for the stuff. And so we are going to. If you didn't know, you can actually reconvert your ingots into dust with this crusher right here. And you can see right there we have some gold dust. And so now what we can do is take this back over to this right here. And if we look up electrolytic separator and go to the recipe right here, it requires this electrolytic core, which is this right here. And so that's a bunch of the enriched alloys right there, and so that should be pretty simple to make the rest of, and so I will get back to you when we're ready to set this up. Awesome, so here we are, we have our electric pump, and I think I'm just going to put this over the infinite water source right there, and if we supply this with power, and we're just going to experiment right now with this before we set up cables and stuff, it isn't getting RF, and it isn't getting fluid. Hold up. Where is this supposed to pump from, and where is it supposed to get power from is the question. Is it supposed to get power from right here? That's a possibility. Let's try that. Okay, yeah, no. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so that is how it works. And then it should maybe pump out from up there into whatever we have up here. So maybe the electrolytic separator right there. Aha, it's getting water, we can see. And so now we just need to supply that thing with power in order to make it run. And so it should separate into hydrogen and oxygen. Awesome. And the pressurized tubes from Mekanism are capable of transferring gases, as you can see right here. And so the basic pressurized tube, if we look at the advanced pressurized tube is actually just basic pressurized tubes around an enriched alloy, and so we can that just requires a little bit of steel and some glass for some of those, and we don't actually need very many. And so what we can do is come back in here, and so now we have some advanced ones which are slightly better. And so what we have right here is a gas burning generator, and so it generates stuff by supplying it with oxygen, I believe. And so if we put this right there, it should take the oxygen out and put it into there maybe. But let's just figure out how this thing works. And we want to make a mechanism wrench, which is called a configurator, so that we can work with these pipes and not have to do a ton of extra stuff in order to... yes, that's right. At Mechanism? Aha, there we are. Configurator. Awesome. Okay, so now to charge this up, we want to place down our capacitor right there and put it in there. Awesome. Okay, this is how these pipes work, and they are actually very confusing. You need this configurator in order to use them, and so what we are going to do is we have the hydrogen, which is on the left side when we interface this, coming out right over there, and you can see that the machine is facing us. If we look at it, there are the two tanks right there, and nothing off of the back, and so we can see that the hydrogen is on the one side, and we have our pressurized tube right there, And if we shift right-click on this, we can change it to pull, and then we can see that this right here is getting hydrogen put into it, and if we want to make sure even still that nothing is being pulled out, we can change that to push, and right there, and it will that will then recycle all of the hydrogen that we get from all of this, and then we can take the power from that with our conduits. I don't think we actually need enhanced conduits for this. I think we can just use normal ones, and there we go. No? Okay, that's the side. That's definitely the side. Extract. And awesome. Oh, it's full of energy. Oh, okay. That's why. Okay. So, if we now pipe some oxygen into there, and we now are full on oxygen, you can see that, and we can take it out right there and pump that over and down, like that. Change this to pull, okay, and this to push, and now this thing right here is working. Hey, check that out. So now we have 10 clumps. Awesome. And so we want to output items right here into this thing right here, which we want to be our input. Awesome. Which, no, yes, no, maybe so. Anyway, we can take these iron clumps, put them into our crusher right here, and which will then crush things into dirty tin dust, which if we then put in our enrichment chamber, we can see that it gets turned into tin dust, which we can then smelt for a tin ingot. Awesome. So that is the triple ore processing all said and done. So we now have this whole thing set up. Super awesome. We have oxygen being supplied right here, and we have this thing which burns hydrogen to make extra power and all of that stuff. Super great, and I am loving it, and we have already tripled the income of 1 tin ore, and that's actually what a Tinker's Smeltery does. And so you may think, okay, well, this was nice, but I could have just done that with a Tinker's Smeltery, and you're right. And so I am loving this Mekanism mod, and now that we actually know how to use the pipes and stuff like that, I think that we are ready. Since we understand now how the pipes work and all that stuff, I think I'm going to move on to the next tier of ore processing, and I am super excited for this. I think that I just want to cover all the different tiers of ore processing in this episode, but I don't know. We'll see how tier 3 goes. While we are here doing all of this, I figured we should make a speed upgrade for the Mekanism mod, and this is how you put the upgrades in. Then you have an upgrade tab right here, and then you put the speed upgrade right there. And ta-da, you can see right here we have 2 of the 8 that we can stack into this machine. In order to do all of this stuff, we need a chemical injection chamber and a chemical infuser. The chemical infuser is pretty straightforward, requiring a couple of slightly new parts, but other than that, but the chemical injection chamber is much more complicated. It requires a purification chamber and reinforced alloys, as well as an elite control circuit. You may not have thought compressing your redstone or your coal was a big deal, but compressing your diamond? Essential. By the way, this gives us reinforced alloys. Curse the hiccups. And this gives us our chemical injection chamber, which is somewhat expensive. But in order to start on the next tier of stuff, we need brine, which is produced by a thermal or solar evaporation plant. And in order to make that, we need an advanced solar generator, which is mostly just a bunch of crafting. and these things, which require steel and some other bits and pieces. And we need some space for this thing, and so I have a thing right here, the hole, there we go, that's what it's called a hole, built right here, so that we can start work on this thing, and it is going to be 18 tall, because that is the maximum, mostly just because I want to. And we need, we want 2 of them. We don't need 2 of them right now, but we want 2 of them because eventually we want lithium and other stuff like that. But anyway, this is what we're doing for now, is just this one right here. And so, we are going to get out our blocks right here, which are required to build. And we start by making a 4x4 little platform like this, and then a little hollow thing built all the way up to the space that we want. Oh wow, this could end up being expensive. This is not 18 blocks, oops, I fell in it. But we have a controller right here, and it's just turned around so we can't actually see it from the inside right here. And these are not drains, but is really close to drains from like Tinker's construct and stuff like that. And so we've gone up to the layer that we want to go up to, because I don't really want to make much more steel. It's gotten, anyway. But we have filled in almost the entire top layer, except for this block right here, which we are going to put an advanced solar generator on. However, it needs a little bit more space than we are providing it right now, and so if we dig out a little bit more of this area, we might actually be able to put this thing down. Haha! You can see right here, that's what it looks like. Dug out a little much, but that's okay. We can fill that back in. Awesome. And so this is what it looks like, and we will eventually, we can put 4 of these in the thing, and you can see, okay, right now it's nighttime, and so if we sleep, no, there we go, okay, if we sleep, then we should see that this thing starts to activate and produce RF. It does. Nice. 240 RF per tick. That's not horrible. But anyway, and that is part of this structure now, I believe. And so we are going to hop back up here and down into our laboratory over here. And we should see, it says incomplete right now, but hopefully we should have enough stuff to be able to start this thing. However, we do need a source of heat in order to power this thing, and so we will figure out what we're going to do for that and come right back. We also need to take these blocks off right here. I did not need to put those there. Yes, okay, and we see that it flashes red. It recognizes that this thing is now formed, and so now we can come back up over here, down here, and look at our controller, and it says formed. Aha! Perfect. And so now we need a source of heat. So the source of heat we want to use is a resistive heater, which uses RF to create heat, and in order to make this, we need, let's see here, there we are, resistive heater. We need energy tablets there, and anyway, we need an energy tablet, and so that means we need some gold, and so I have come down here to gather some gold because we are pretty much entirely out of it upstairs, and so to look at all the things that we've gotten, oh my goodness, look at all this stuff. Longsdaleite shards, resonating ore, dimensional shard ore. I actually haven't gotten any of that in my mining. That's super cool. And we even have like ardite, tungsten. Wow, this is great. And we have some gold. Woohoo! I actually want to see what this dimensional shard ore gives us. And so let's figure that out with our fortune pickaxe right here, fortune 2. Ooh, oh, that's quite a few dimensional shards. I actually really like that. That's awesome. Awesome, here we are. This is our resistive heater, and we can see our heat right there, and our it uses 40 RF per tick as well. And I also made some advanced thermodynamic conductors, which is just the basic thermodynamic conductors upgraded a little bit. And if we put that right there and get out our configurator, I think we should pull and push this. If we supply it with power now, should put heat into this thing right here so that we can use it to make water into brine. And with some advanced mechanical pipes running from this thing, oh nope, from the top of this thing, and these things take forever to break, into this thing right here. Awesome. We should even, push, and just to make sure, we can even set that to pull. And now, this should get filled with water. Oh, hey, it's already converted it to brine. Check that out. Super awesome. Okay, so it is being supplied with heat. Awesome. Oh, no, it's not. No, it's not. How's it already brine then? Did it somehow... Okay, well, either way, it converted it into brine. That's what we needed. And then we can take the brine out with one of these, and if we... none. Wait a second, what is going on here? Did it take the brine out? It did not. Okay. Here we are. This is not how I want the final setup to be, but this is the basic gist of it. And to demonstrate what all is going to be going on during this, I am going to use a piece of ore. We still have a lot of tin ore. Let's just use 4 of that. Awesome. Okay. So, first off, we need to supply all these machines with power. And you'll kind of start to see stuff start to fire up right away. Namely, this pump right here is not getting RF. Why are you not getting RF? What is happening? It's taking it to places. Are you getting RF now? Aha, yes, here it is. It is working now, and you can see 6... Ooh, okay, good. I'm glad that it's not staying at 640 RF per tick forever, but you can see that this water right here is being put into multiple containers, the closest of which is this thing right here, the thermal evaporation controller, and you can see that its heat is rising, which will make it faster, I believe. But really we need a couple speed upgrades for this pump because right now it's the thing that is not able to keep up with the rest of the system. But you can see that then turns into brine, which then goes into this tank right here, which is then pumped into this electrolytic separator, which then separates the brine into sodium and chlorine. The sodium we want to dump, and the chlorine we want to then pump out, there we go, into our chemical infuser, which then infuses the hydrogen with the chlorine into hydrogen chloride, which is then pumped into our chemical injection chamber, which is used to make quadruple ores. So this is pretty complicated, but it will be well worth it in the long run, because now we are getting 4 tin shards, and now shards are different from what we were using before, and so, but if we place one of those in our purification chamber, which we were using for triple ores, and you can see that the water should also be coming to this electrolytic separator, which is supplying hydrogen, by the way, to our chemical infuser. Then you can see that it is also supplying oxygen as a byproduct to this purification chamber, and we put the tin shards in there, which then end up going through this, and you can see we're out of power already, so we'll need to work on that a little bit. And you can see that tin clump, awesome, super cool, which is then put in the crusher, and the clumps are what we were working with before. We used to get 3 clumps from our purification chamber right there, but now we are getting 4 shards from our chemical injection chamber right here. And you can see that we're already out of power, and so that's not gonna continue going on. And then dirty tin dust into just regular tin dust, which we can then smelt in our furnace right here. Super awesome. And now we're getting 4 times ore generation, which is super awesome, and we will be getting much more value out of our ores because of that. But we are really close to being out of time for today, and so what we are going to do is set up another real quick little farm, and all it requires is a piece of redstone ore, and you can see that if we place this down and mine it up enough, that occasionally we will get something from it. Ah, yes, see? There we go. We got a resonating redstone crystal. And you can see right there that all we need to do is mine it up with Silk Touch over and over and over again, and we will get these resonating crystals from it. And these are used in a lot of extra utilities things, and a lot of different extra utilities machines. Anyway, that's just an exploit that I want to set up a farm for eventually. But I think we're actually going to want to sleep so our power is going again. And 2, we want to set up a mechanical miner and a block placer. Okay, so a mechanical miner. Okay. So we need a dispenser, a resonating crystal, and an iron pickaxe. Real simple. Totally got that. Awesome. Mechanical miner. And we're just going to do this right here for the moment. But if we put that... Oh, no! Oh, no! Okay, wait. Hold up. Always on. Redstone on. Redstone off. Hold up. Okay, I might have been wrong. Maybe what we want is this mechanical user right here. And so we are going to make that piece of cake. And dun. Awesome. Okay, mechanical user. Grab out another piece of redstone ore. Redstone. Do we have another one? No, we don't. Okay, that's okay. But then we will use this right here, and we want to left click, place block, use item on block. Awesome. And we want the upper left slot only. And now we just want to place our thing right there, and it should hopefully mine it, maybe? We'll see. Moment of truth. We got it right here. Place it down. Awesome, it did mine it up. Hey, nice. Now all we need to do is place it right here. And if we wait, the question is, will we get a resonating crystal? Yes, we do. Check that out. Super awesome. Okay, now the other question is, how is our pickaxe doing? Okay, our pickaxe seems to be doing just fine. We might at some point need to use some cobalt to repair it, but that is just fine. The question is, does mending moss repair your item when it's broken, is the question. And we'll just have to find that out after that thing breaks, because I'm picking up all the experience here instead of it going to the pickaxe there. But we'll just have to see as far as that goes. But anyway, that's the simple farm, and you can see we already gotten three resonating redstone crystals from it, and so that is pretty cool. And so let's turn this off. Redstone on. There we go. Okay, let's turn that off for the moment, and I will end the episode off here. Thank you so much for watching. I have really enjoyed this episode with all of our processing that we've been doing in here and all that stuff. It's looking pretty cool with all the pipes going everywhere. And it's not going to look like this in the end. It's not going to be like cable mess everywhere. It's actually going to look pretty cool. We'll have them in the wall right here, the machines, and be able to track the progress and in between the different factories and stuff like that. But this is what we have for the time being, and so I'm going to end the episode off here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next episode. Take care. Bye.